This is the fourth episode of the Natural Born Growth Hackers. So this week, let's hop right into it. Joe, let's talk about how you just got a for sale by owner.
Definitely, let's do it. So essentially, I make a lot of for sale by owner calls to get most of my listings. I don't really spend any money on advertising. I do everything either on TikTok or making phone calls. So I've been calling for sale by owners. It's free, number one. Number two, all you do is just make conversation with people. So I call for sale by owners in Palm Beach, Broward, in Miami-Dade. Connected with this one guy. He's selling his house up in Boynton. Started talking to him, just trying to get a better idea. He's like, hey, I'm not looking to do a listing with this house. I'm like, all right, no worries. I might have a buyer for you because I do have a couple cash buyers that I work with. I'm like, look, I just want to come by, check it out, see what it's all about. I'll also give you some information on myself so you know it's just not a stranger walking in your house. So connected with them, got to go up there, checked out the house. We were there for about 45 minutes. We didn't talk about the house at all. We literally just talked about just connecting and just treating him as a person at the end of the day instead of just another transaction or a client. We talked about his family, we talked about his sports, we talked about his hobbies. I mean, we just really connected. We started talking about my truck. We really never talked about the house, and then I'm getting ready to leave. He's going through all the stuff that I gave him. He's like, look, you're the only realtor who's come by who's like, not saying I have to list it. You were telling me, hey, look, try to give it 30, 60 days. I mean, you're doing it for sale by owner. You might as well just try it out and see it through. And he's like, look, I really appreciate that, and I know you're hustling, and I know you're a genuine person. And then we ended up just going from there, going over some logistics for an agreement. We got the thing listed, and we're actually having an open house for it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what did you like offer as well, like on top of? Because I know you the painting, correct, right?
Yep. Yeah. So like he was talking about getting his house painted and doing all this stuff and like just putting a whole lot of money into it. And I was like, look, at the end of the day, right now in today's market, I don't want to see you spend all this money to not really see the return on it. He lives in an extremely affluent neighborhood and a neighborhood that's got top A-rated schools as well. So people are willing to pay a premium to be in there. There's no point in spending some of the money. And then we started talking about marketing and things. I was just trying to give him some tips and tricks and things to do because he was really only putting it out on Zillow. And at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people on Zillow, but you're still missing a huge portion of the market. So I was just trying to help him to understand what he should do and not tell him that, look, you need to go with me. I'm just trying to help you to get the most money, put the most money possible in his pocket at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway for like anyone that's like getting into real estate as well is essentially what you did there. Like you didn't spend a dime, like you just went on for sale by owner lists and call potential people that would maybe they weren't getting the best offers on their houses that they really wanted, and I mean now they get to really maximize their return on investment by going with you, an experienced realtor that has success. Like, I mean, you sold a $2.4 million house, or not sold, but you bought it with the buyer. Right. Regardless, though, I mean...
Plus, they save all the time. Like, think about all the time, effort, and energy they're going to put into it that's taken away from their job and their responsibilities. Like, this is my full-time job. I have the time and I have the resources and the systems to make sure that it's done correctly and it goes as smoothly as possible. Like, could you save commission by selling yourself? Oh yeah, 100%. But at the end of the day, it's the time, effort, and energy and making sure that you get the most money possible.
Yeah, no, 100%. On top of that too, like, how much actual effort do you put into like those, calling those lists of for sale by owners?
In terms of like
is this like a one-off experiment that finally went well for you, or what have you done in the past?
Yep. So that's pretty much how I've gotten all my listings. So
Interesting.
I've tried to do mostly listings. Just because I see the value in getting the market myself and be able to help people with it, because let's be realistic, there's a lot of just shitty realtors out there who go and take pictures with their phone. I want to make sure that they get the most money. And it's just like, I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos and everyone was like, look, you just got to make the phone calls. No one wants to do it. They just want to run Facebook ads. I was like, I don't care about making phone calls. I'll go talk to them. They curse me out. I'm never going to talk to them again.
No, definitely. And I understand too with the phone calls. Like, I mean, everyone hates getting those unknown numbers, but I mean, people that are buying and selling their house, they should expect phone calls because at the end of the day, like, until their house is sold, like, that's their goal, obviously.
Right. It is the fastest way to connect you with people who want to sell their house and they want to do it right now. I mean, you could wait for someone to click on your ad or come to you, but you're going to be waiting forever.
Yeah, no, definitely. So last week we talked a lot about this growth hacking sprint that I did through LinkedIn. And sprints are essentially, like, it's another word for, just short, like, marketing techniques to to essentially just do and see the results that you get from it. And the results that I got were absolutely crazy. But one of the guys that I reached out to that had NFTs in sports, basically in his profile on LinkedIn, his name was Dubray White, and he's actually a former professional basketball player, and he has this marketplace called Social, and it's basically putting the power back into the hands of the athletes. So one of his really good friends is Tracy McGrady, the Hall of Fame basketball player, and he's actually a partial owner of Social as well, I'm pretty sure. But regardless, I met him through reaching out through LinkedIn, and he was, really intrigued by the quality project and what we're doing. So right now we're the first NFT project that's actually partnered with American Top Team, and that's a big thing in the space. Like, literally sat down with Dan Lambert and one of my partners, and Richie, another partial owner of American Top Team, and we were able to close like the first successful NFT partnership with them. And through the LinkedIn growth hacking that I did, I met Dubray White, and now we have a partnership with Social. We're going to be using them for it's a very unique thing that we're doing. Like, no one has really done this prior to like a build up of their generative collection. So we are launching a collection right now. It's 9999, but anyone following the marketplace right now for NFTs, like, it's not the best. Like, we wish it was a lot better. We wish we would have launched kind of earlier than we did, but it's just building up that initial following, getting engagement in your community, and just really building up a loyal fan base. But regardless, we're going to be doing these one-of-one NFTs through Dutch auctions on his platform, and it's going to be the Quality Project Athlete Edition. So it's going to be separate from our generative collection, but no one's actually really done this yet. So I think it's something that's actually very unique in the space that has not been like attempted, and we're going to do it with these one-off athletes. But we have the potential to make a crazy ROI on some of this amazing artwork that we've already produced, but that's specific for these different athletes that we are partnering with and approaching. So American Top Team, we already have over 10 of confirmed of their actual athletes, and we're able to use that kind of as like getting our foot in the door with gaining traction with other professional athletes, and not even just like the MMA, but the NBA, the NFL, even cricket. We're talking with someone in cricket right now, like
cricket's
tennis.
huge.
Yeah, so cricket is, I think it's the second biggest sport. Yeah, soccer is the biggest sport, and cricket is the second biggest sport in the entire globe. So this fan base is just insane. But these one-of-one NFTs, it's different because like they actually come with utility. Like, people are going to be they're going to be signed by the athlete themselves. The athlete's going to be promoting them on their own platforms, and then driving their fans to basically bid whoever offers the highest price on the NFT is the one that goes home with it. But it comes with utilities. Like, some are going to have a day with a Hall of Famer, or go shopping with a celebrity, like stuff like that. But and some of them are just going to be signed in general, and then some are going to come with signed boxing gloves, or a signed tennis racket, or a signed cricket bat. That's a cricket bat, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You're getting memorabilia at the same time as you're also holding the NFT, and you're going to get all that.
Yeah, exactly too. And also, I think over time, as these athletes, whether they're done with their sports, or maybe they pass away or they grow, these the value of this actual memorabilia, it's not just digital. It's coming with something that's more than just a JPEG. That's what a lot of people they like to say, but
it's a whole experience at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. It's a whole experience, and you can turn around and sell that maybe for a profit down the road if you really wanted to, from someone else that thinks that they would have more value in holding that piece of memorabilia, because you're going to get that utility aspect from it yourself that the person that gets it on the secondary market may not actually get, because you already used that utility. But they're still going to be able to get the actual signed digital copy of that NFT, which could go up in a lot of value. And this is another great way for us to promote our own brand, which is driving people to our Discord, getting more community engagement, and then our own traction, because it's proving value. You know, like these different youth studies that we're creating with these other athletes, like it's going to help drive our own loyal fan base and just get more traction in the space in general. But I mean, I really think this is going to go a long way, and we may not even launch a generative collection now. We don't know. Maybe like we'd rather just do this these one-off NFT versions with celebs and athletes, because we're providing like something that no other project has really. And again, like the Equality Project, it's koalas, but like, you know, equality. It's a mission-based project. We're trying to drive like diversity and equity in tech, in Web3, the crypto space, and then also in sports. I mean, for example, like MMA, like gender equity is a huge thing. Like for in golf, for example, women, you know, they shoot closer from the tee than men do. In MMA, like they fight in the same cage, the same night. They even have co-sponsors fights as well. Like there's just a lot of things that the sport MMA is doing, like that's just great for gender equity in general. But we're promoting all sports, all celebrities and all athletes for these one-off NFTs, and they're just going to be their own one-for-ones, Dutch auction style NFTs on through Social, which is, you know, Dubray White's marketplace platform. And he actually, one of his NFTs that was by Taya Cooper, who's going to do ours as well. Hers sold for $900K on his marketplace. I mean, it's crazy, like just mind-boggling numbers. But I mean, these are loyal fans out there that they want to have that experience, and again, like maybe like down the road, like that fan can resell this NFT and get like even a higher return on her investment. But her utility aspect of that NFT was actually a whole day of shopping spree with Taya Cooper. She's big into, you know, Barbie, shopping and those kind of things, and obviously she has a pretty loyal fan base to be able to, you know, get that big of a return on that NFT.
So I think the biggest thing that we could take away from it kind of ties into growth hacking, is you could talk about the pivoting that you guys have kind of done with the Equality Project. I mean, like, I feel like people don't really realize how much you have to pivot when you are growth hacking, because sometimes the one thing that you're doing isn't always working, or it's not the best use of your time, energy, or efforts.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the biggest thing as well. It's like this NFT space, like there's a lot of these people that they're essentially, at the end of the day, they're just copying the Bored Ape Yacht Club. You know, like they're the first collection that got away with you know, the 10K, and all these other blue chips. I mean, they did the same thing, but like at the end of the day, like they're really just copying like these other collections that have the same number. And we kind of realized, like, look, like we're not really doing anything different. I mean, yeah, we're promoting a mission that has utility behind our NFT, but this is actually pivoting towards something that is accomplishing something different than these other projects we're already doing. And I mean, I think this new direction, and that's the thing too. So we already have our collections done. It's absolutely amazing. It really is. Like anyone that sees our art, we've spent over 6 months producing it. It's completely finished. So what we want is these one-off NFTs to kind of lead up into launching our own generative collection. But regardless, like, I mean, we don't need to launch that if we think that the focus should shift towards these athletes and these celebrities, because we can get more value for, you know, putting it in the back of the hands of them. And also, too, like one of the causes of Dubray White actually creating this marketplace and platform is putting basically putting the ball in the court of the athlete is the best way to go about it, because
giving them back the power.
Yeah. So Tracy McGrady, something that happened to him when he was younger in his days, he got paid like $10,000 to, I think these are the numbers, he got paid like $10,000 to create 400, he had to sign 400
like
cards or whatever, and just memorabilia. And what happened was, next day he looks and he sees someone selling that card for $7K, and like he just sat there. I mean, he only spent 2 hours to make $10K. It's not that bad, but in the day, like that's, I mean, those are rare cards that it really like affects his own name and his own brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you see these
They're a
dealers
business
that,
at the end of the day.
yeah,
when you think
exactly,
about
exactly. And these dealers are turning around and like they're essentially kind of scamming the artists and taking it away from them and the athletes. So he made this platform to put the ball back in their court and like really show that their true value is in this. And yeah, the athletes gets the vast majority. So we're getting some, we're making some, and so is the marketplace. But the athlete is getting the vast majority. And again, like they're gonna help build up our own brand because it's gonna be Equality Project Athlete Edition, you know. And these different, we already got over 40 people so far. I'm not gonna say any of the names, but
It's crazy though, and it's all from messaging someone on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's literally all from just messaging someone that connected. We spoke on the phone for almost 2 hours the first time, and you know, this is what it turned into. Like it turned into this, you know, thriving partnership that now reaching out to, this whole week I've been reaching out to sports agents, people in the NFT space as well that are into sports. They know of people that they're referring me to, so I'm giving kickbacks as well to some people that are, you know, helping me out in the space. But regardless, it's just going to further our brand, actually give us like revenue and traction that's going to help build up our actual launch for our generative collection. And like, I mean, at the end of the day, anyone that is supporting an NFT project, they're essentially an investor, you know, and they're going to be investing in what we're doing. So I want all of our holders to get the biggest return on their investment. And, you know, that's the way to go about this is just, you know, doing all the right things to create a crazy brand that has like the most value possible. So when we do go and sell our koalas on, you know, OpenSea or whatever marketplace that it's gonna be on every marketplace, but when we do go and sell it initially for our floor price and our mints and our reveal, like we can get like the biggest return on investments for all of our holders that do end up minting one of our koalas. So yeah, I mean, like just every single aspect in your life, like bring growth hacking to it, and you're gonna find success somewhere, because you're also gonna fail, obviously. Like I've failed many times, and
but like we talked about last week, I mean, it's part of the process.
Yeah, it's part of the process. It's like there's no straight like arrow to where you're getting. We talked a lot about our challenge last week, and we've had a challenge selling our challenge. And I mean, like again, like it's creating a community and creating a brand, and we're actually taking a pivot ourselves for Division 42. So we discussed it right before this podcast. We actually discussed a direction that we're going to move in, and it's going to be kind of similar to what we're doing for equality for these athletes, because mental health in athletes it's a huge topic, and that's kind of like what we're focused on. It's Division 42 is all about improving your mental health through the use of fitness. And I mean, athletes are doing that every day. Like they get to, you know, live that, and it's a very stressful thing that they go through, and a lot of them are affected by their own mental health issues. And it's one of those things that has not been talked about for so many years, and now people are coming out, like myself and our brand and Joe. Like we're very adamant about, you know, talking about your own mental health and your own struggles, because that's how you're going to get better, and that's how you're going to improve your own lives. And essentially what we're doing with this is something very similar to the Dutch auctions. For that is we're going to partner up with these athletes and celebrities, and we're going to be donating 42% of that NFT back to a nonprofit that supports mental health in some capacity, or whatever nonprofit that athlete wants to choose to go to. But we want to get like the biggest return on these values. And I listened to a call on Upstream, and this individual that was leading the call, he's basically using NFTs in some aspects of every single new venture that he's part of right now. And I mean, there's a reason, like, we're so early in this space, and people like just don't understand the value in it. But it's more about the utility aspect that I think is like the biggest use for these NFTs. It's not just the art. Like, yes, art is great, art's amazing. You're gonna get these collections that only have that art aspect, but the utility behind some of these NFTs, it's pretty sick. And we're gonna be able to provide utility in the sense of like, whoever purchases our Division 42 branded NFT, that's, you know, signed by whatever athlete, it's going to go back into, you know, a great cause, and then also, you know, sign merch for that loyal fan that ends up, you know, shoveling out that money for the NFT that we create.
Plus, even maybe some experiences. I mean, we're still working out some of the details on it.
Yeah.
But it could be very similar to that, where you're going to get something of value from it at the end of the day, whether it be memorabilia, experience, even going to a game maybe. I mean, we just haven't, we're not at that point yet, still in the early stages, but that's what we really want to do with it, to make sure that you're getting the most for your money at the end of the day. You're not getting a picture that someone else can post and put on Twitter.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, like, there's just so many use cases that haven't even thought up yet of different ways that you can apply NFTs to whatever business that you may have. And it's just, it all starts with an idea that turns into a concept, that turns into, you know, a proven use of the NFT, that turns into revenue for your own business. And you know, like, I'm a big fan of the Lean Startup methodology.
Build, measure, learn.
Yeah, exactly. Build, measure, learn. And you do that for really everything you're doing. And like Division 42, we built something up, and you know, we measured from the zero amount of customers that we have.
Oh, we got 2.
And then we learned that, you know, we got to pivot to something else, because supplements is just, it's kind of hard to. And what we're providing as well is it's different. Like, it's very unique. It's a very unique value proposition, and that's giving back to mental health. But like, obviously, that's not a reason that you go and buy supplements. And we've come to realize that, like, you're not going to go and purchase supplements because of this brand that, you know, is catered towards mental health. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just all about, you know, staying focused and just not giving up. Like, you can't fail unless you quit. I'm gonna say that a million times. And that's absolutely true in anything you do in life, but you literally cannot fail unless you quit. It's the same thing with businesses and ventures. And this pivot, it's gonna help, you know, kind of propel us forward. And a lot of these NFT projects, they're failing. I mean, I think it's safe to say over 99% of them are probably going to fail. And this is going to help us become a success, essentially. So I'm going to ask you one question, Joe. What are the top 5 things that you would advise any new real estate agents that are just starting out, like their first year?
Like the top 5 things they need to do, or just top 5?
Top 5 things they need to do, advice, tips. I guess the top 5 tips. How about that?
Okay. I think 1, you got to hustle. I mean, think about it. You're not getting paid until you find someone who wants to buy or sell. So you got to be out there talking to every and anyone. Number 2, become extremely familiar with all the contracts. I mean, there's little nuances in them here and there, and like the more familiar you can be with it, and the more comfortable you are with it, your buyers and sellers can feel that, and it definitely makes a big difference. I think number 3, don't be afraid of the phones. I know a lot of people are afraid of the phones right now. They don't want to talk to someone, or they're afraid of getting into trouble. Like, look, the absolute worst case someone's going to do is just tell you to F off, and then you just go about your day and make the next call. 4th thing I think is don't be afraid of rejection or failure. I think those two tie in together. I mean, people are going to reject you, but the next rejection is just one step closer to your next yes. And the same thing with failure. I mean, try out different things with lead generation. I mean, you never know what's going to stick. Throw as many things as you can on the wall, especially in the beginning. As many free things as possible. That's what I forget to stress. As many free things, because yeah, you can spend money on all these Zillow leads, but at the end of the day, Zillow owns them, and you're paying a huge chunk of change for them. And I think the 5th thing is just really being sure that you want to do this in time blocking. I think that's the biggest thing. People get into real estate thinking they're going to have all the freedom in the world. They can go out and do this, this, and this. But you have to be structured like you're still working a normal 9-to-5 job, except now you're doing like 8 to 11, and 11 at night, and 8 a.m. in the morning. And you just got to be constantly just trying to lead generate and just stay on top of all those leads. I mean, fortunes in the follow-up, we know that. I mean, it's very, very rare that you just call someone like, hey, I see you're trying to do for sale by owner, I'll sell it for 5%. And they're like, oh yeah, let's come on over. That doesn't happen. You have to be constantly building these relationships with these people, and at the end of the day, it's no different from any other sales, except now you're handling what could possibly be the biggest asset in someone's life.
Yeah, no, especially. And like, that's the thing too that people have to realize. Like, I mean, I think it's every 7 years is the average that people sell their house, right? But regardless, like, I mean, that's 7 years. Your house has probably doubled since what you bought it at by the time you're selling it, like, that 7th year. So,
especially in today's market.
oh yeah, for sure.
Almost
I mean,
quadrupled.
yeah, I mean, I bought my house for I think it was 165, and I sold it for 210 like 2 years later. So it just goes to show you. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I think the lead generation is something that people like kind of overlook a lot, and also too, like, your spheres of influence, like your family and friends are, you know, the biggest network effect, and it makes me so angry that when you hear about a friend that's like, oh, you know, I just like looked up this house and I just kind of some agent reached out to me and I'm just gonna go with him. Just keep reminding your friends that you're a freaking agent, you know?
Yeah, like, as much as it's going to be annoying, like, you don't want to annoy people posting it on, like, Instagram or, like, Facebook, just post it. What's the worst they do? They scroll past it? They're going to scroll past it anyway.
Yeah,
At
no,
least
100%.
they're seeing it now.
Exactly, you know, I totally agree. Like, nothing makes me more mad is when you have a buddy that...
Didn't this happen with you?
Yeah, it's happened multiple times with me. I've probably got, like, 10 friends that, you know, everyone's buying and selling houses. I'm 26 years old, so it's like the dead age. Everyone wants to buy and sell a house, and I don't know about sell, but everyone's buying at least. And all I hear are these stories about, yeah, you know, I just went with this person. It's a family friend. You know, he does all the real estate deals in my family. It's like, okay, well, I could have probably got you a better deal, but I get it. We'll see next time when Christmas comes around. But yeah, I mean, I think the lead gen thing is definitely something that you can't overlook. And again, just it's all about the network effect. Every single venture that I've been part of, like, the network effect is huge. It doesn't change at all with real estate. It's the same aspect. But next week, let's definitely talk about how our results are going with, for one, your open house, which is tomorrow, and then also too for our first few Dutch auctions that we're going to be doing off for the Equality Project. So I'm very excited to start seeing some revenue come through for Equality.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. You guys will definitely kill it. So we'll keep everyone updated on how we do, and we'll track our results. That's another big thing.
Yeah.
Just tracking every...
Oh, 100%. Like, with the LinkedIn thing that we discussed last week with that sprint, like, the numbers have even risen even more. I think I had it on here. Like, it was 71% last week. I gotta put the numbers together, but I'm sure it's at least up to 80 because people just keep running in from the connections that I did in that sprint, and just wanting to, you know, like, set up a call, and it's honestly overwhelming. You like, be prepared to follow up with a lot of people and get on phone calls and start promoting your brands and, you know, trying to, you know, connect and network any way you can. But that's it. So see you next week.